I'm here on the salt line in Cheshire, which is a disused railway line that used to take salt from the salt works in Antwerp and Middlewich up there and take them down to the potteries, where I think they were used in the ceramics industry. Or maybe not, maybe it's into the chemical industry. Either way, it used to take salt, and now it's a very nice place where people walk their dogs. It's also great for perspective. I love looking up this path and seeing everything narrow into the distance. But what I've been thinking about just now was to do with, well, I guess the somatosensory system, really. Because the somatosensory system, which is this, well, I guess I'm really thinking about senses and about how the various senses function. And by senses, I'm largely talking about the exteroceptive senses, but also about the interoceptive senses, the felt sense, the ability to detect to a greater or lesser extent what's happening inside the body. And there's several things I think are quite interesting about the somatosensory system. The first thing is that it's clearly inactive, by which I mean that it's not a passive thing. I know that when I'm looking at something, if my eyes were completely fixed, I wouldn't be able to see anything. I can only see things because I'm moving around, my eyes are moving around, and my eyeballs themselves are saccading from side to side, and it's only the kind of news of difference that's I'm constantly being provided with, which has given me that sense of sight at all. So, and that's something I think Alvanoy and somebody Reagan, I can't remember his first name, write about. It's a kind of an active property of vision that kind of goes out into the world and seeks and kind of feels around objects. The same is true with touch. I think it's fair to say that if you put your hand on something and keep your hand perfectly still, you don't actually get information about the shape or the texture of the object that you've got your hand on. It's only when you have to feel a surface, you have to move your hand across that surface. I think that's true even when it's something like heat you're feeling. I think when you put your hand on something hot, well, on the face of it, it might seem that go on this way, Pops. Well, on the face of it, it might seem that you're being completely passive in that relationship. What's actually happening, I think, I might say this, is what you're feeling is the molecules in your skin vibrating. In fact, they move and vibrate so much that they vibrate themselves apart, and that's why your skin is damaged when you keep your hand on something hot. And I'm sure the same is true of all the other senses. When you smell something, you move your head in a certain way, and you kind of know your nostrils kind of move around a bit. When you're listening to something, there's all kinds of little movements going on inside of your head, inside of your auditory system. So that's the first thing about the senses. It's terribly inactive. The second thing about it is, I can't remember what I was going to say. I think the second thing. No idea at all. No idea. I think I was going to say something about virtuality. I think I'm right in saying, I might be completely making this up, but it seems likely to me that the somatosensory system, all these senses that we have, which seem to be active out there in the world and which are capable of using in an introspective sense, are also capable of being reproduced virtually. We talk about the mind's eye. It's really easy to imagine an image just by closing your eyes and imagining it, and there it appears. So it's almost like you can kind of run the software for eyeballs inside your brain and create a virtual visual system by doing that. And of course, every night, we have dreams which are full multimedia displays, entirely produced by a kind of virtual somatosensory system. So I'm guessing here, but I'm guessing that whatever processes happen to the within the somatosensory system in terms of making sense of the world, binding all these things together, performing all those processing operations I've talked about before, whether they be cognitive operators or whether it be other kinds of poetics of mind, as Gibbs called it. It seems likely to me that those operations would also be happening within the virtual somatosensory system. So the mind's eye is presumably also going through various operations, or the output, the input that's going to the mind's eye, if it makes any sense to say that, is also being processed in various complex ways. So there's a kind of I think there's a kind of series of re-entry loops there, I suppose, in which sense becomes reprocessed in this kind of virtual system. My dogs want to go in the woods. Alright, I'm coming. It is nice down here. There's all these bluebells are growing down here right now. And you get these great views up. I'm going to just point the camera up so we can see this.